Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the San Diego Bass Fishing Podcast. And if you haven't heard yet, this happened just now, about an hour ago. The City Council, the San Diego City Council, in a vote of 6-3, voted in favor of keeping the lakes open for 20 through 2026. No budget cuts for the lakes. Thank you, Tom Lowry. Thank you, Rob McGargle, and everybody at the Friends of the San Diego Lakes for really putting in a lot of effort here, a lot of emails, a lot of contacts. They raised money, they had a GoFundMe. You guys, you did it, and congratulations, and thank you from the bottom of my heart, and all the other people that use the lakes, the kayakers, the wakeboarders at San Vicente, much less the bass fishermen and the bass fishing community. We all thank you guys for doing such a tremendous job, and let's keep it up. Let's go forward with this. I know Tom has talked about this, and that it's going to be an ongoing progress or ongoing project. So, but right now, celebrations are in order. This is the second thing that, well, I guess the road never really got repaired, but the second thing that the Friends of Lakes has won on. Friends of Lakes is striving to do good with the make a better fishing experience or better outdoor experience for everybody that goes to the lakes, and it's impressive. We haven't won very much since Jim Brown and Kevin Mineo days, and today they can put another feather in their hat. Friends of San Diego Lakes, you did it. We're going to be fishing next year on with no proposed close days. So I'm just super thankful, and it's just a huge deal, great big, huge. So thank you from San Diego Bass Fishing Podcast. Stay tuned. We have Brandon Kuehl coming up, and please like, share, and subscribe to the San Diego Bass Fishing Podcast. We're working on it. We have 650 subscribers now. My goal is 1,000. We've been doing it for a year. This is going to be, I think, number 69, number podcast. So that's sort of crazy. We've gone almost 70 podcasts here, and thank you for everybody that has subscribed already. It's a good day.
All righty. Here we are once again for the San Diego Bass Fishing Podcast. Welcome back, everybody. Waiting for our guest today, Brandon Kuehl. I have to ask him what the how to properly pronounce his name. I always get it wrong. Brandon is past San Diego Bassmaster. He moved to Arizona a couple years ago. Since then, he's been on quite the streak over there, winning wise in the BFLs, and he just finished 5th in the latest Lake Havasu Western Outdoor News Tournament. We're all good.
All right. I didn't think you could hear me.
I couldn't. I had to add you to the stage. That's all. So, how you been?
Doing good. How about you?
I'm good. I'm all right. I've been fishing not very good this year.
No,
not real happy with it. So, yeah, that Havasu deal was tough for me.
It happens. Sometimes it's your year, sometimes it's not.
Yeah, I know. And I talked to some people about it. They're trying to get my head back on straight. Which is, I don't know. I guess that's all it is. But that's not for you. How are you doing? And if you don't know Brandon used to live here in San Diego, and that's where I met him, was through the San Diego Bassmasters. And him and I, went head to head in the San Diego at the club level there for a while, but Brandon has moved to Arizona for the last a couple of years ago, and you've been doing quite well. You've been on a roll, buddy.
It feels like it, yeah. It's like I said, sometimes it's your year, and I don't know. For me, I feel like when I'm fishing a lot, I tend to fish better. And this last probably 6 to 12 months, I've been able to put a lot of time in, and yeah, it seems like it's paying off.
Yeah. So, what circuits are you fishing right now? Are
I'm a junkie, so whatever I can get into, whoever I can find to fish with. That's been the interesting thing over here is there's a lot more circuits. So we've got Southwest Custom Tackle, Fishing 48, obviously WON bass. And then we've just got some local, Wednesday night tournaments, Saturday night tournaments. Like there's always something to get into, but I haven't really fished a part of a series other than the Bass Federation over here. So that's kind of been the one that I've focused on, just to try and meet some guys over here and fish with different folks. And so that's been the main focus. But then, yeah, as I can, just jumping into whatever tournaments are out there.
So the Bass Federation, is that BFL?
That's a good question. I think it's tied to MLF. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah,
that's what I was wondering.
Yeah. Yep. It's around here we have 30, 35 guys on the pro side, and then the same on co. So they always pair you with the co-angler. Mm-hmm. And I think we had 7 or 8 tournaments, something like that. Just wrapped up the end of the year, and then I think regionals are October, and then nationals I think are sometime next year.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do you like fishing there? I mean, how are the lakes comparing to other places that you fish? Because you didn't start in San Diego, you started back east and then came to San Diego, and now you're in Arizona. So
yeah,
how's Arizona? How are the lakes treating you?
It's interesting, obviously, going from back east to the West Coast. You don't see too many guys that make that move and, have done very well, at least, not that I know of. I know there's a few in WON bass, but it's a hard move. It's just completely different, than what you're used to. And every time you move as well, you've got to relearn all the lakes. You're going against all the local hammers that know everything, right? And so Phoenix being a big city, like San Diego, but we've got, 5 million people here, right? So we've got some hammers. And you look at the WON bass results recently, there's a lot of guys just from within 5 miles of my house that are top 5 or winning a lot of the tournaments, right? So from that standpoint, quality caliber of fishermen, it's, just as good as San Diego, I feel like. There's a lot of upcoming young guys here. Our lakes here are a lot more varied, I think, than San Diego. San Diego, you just have kind of the big three. Obviously, you got Hodges in there, but we've got the whole Salt River chain. So from Roosevelt all the way down into like Lake Pleasant. And then we've got lakes like Alamo, Havasu, and, your other ones like Mojave and whatnot. But there's just a lot of variety, a lot of different fishing. There's Thule's, there's 20-foot deep clear lakes, dirty water like Roosevelt, just up there yesterday. And you've got everything from 10 feet of visibility all the way to dirt, standing timber, gizzard shad, big long lake. So you have a little bit of everything. You got to learn it all.
Yeah.
The one nice thing here, we can fish 7 days a week, 24 hours a day.
Oh my God.
Not to rub it in, but
it's so bad. It's so bad right now, man.
But no, it's the lakes are really good. The quality of fish, just like San Diego, it varies, right? We had some high water a couple of years ago, so like right now, Roosevelt's fishing really good. We had a 35-pound 5-fish limit come out of there the other day.
I was just going to mention that. I listened to Josh Bertrand and his little fishing deal this morning. He's like, "Oh yeah, 35 pounds last week out of Rosie." Like, oh man.
Yeah, and that was a night tournament. Ty Al actually won, I think, last Saturday during a day tournament with 30 pounds.
Was that the same one that he lost that 13-pounder in?
No, different one. But yeah, no, he's really good up there. There's, just like anywhere else, there's 10 guys that are just hammers up there. So
Like just they're the same
Yeah.
names that you keep seeing in the
Yep.
top. Yeah.
But no, went up there yesterday, had a really good day. Had one, I think that was pushing 8. You know, a lot of
Nice.
offshore fish. We're going to fish a tournament there tomorrow. We're still fishing day tournaments, surprisingly. It was 117 yesterday, but we're still doing day tournaments.
Wow.
But no.
do they limit the time frame as far as tournament times go, like to 6 hours or whatever, like they do here?
Yeah, I don't know if there's a firm limit, but like tomorrow we're going from basically safe light until noon. So
Yeah, right.
you know, it'll probably end up being 7 hours. But yeah, it's kind of cool. They've got a series that's doing some morning tournaments and then some night tournaments. Now our nights go from 6 to midnight. We don't go that late. But it's kind of nice. They do a little bit of mix of both. And, you know, honestly, here going till noon is not bad. By then it's only 105 or 110 and you can get out of there and go home. But,
it's a dry heat. It's a dry heat.
No, you get used to the weather, honestly. And, you know, if you have to, you jump in the water. But after a couple of years, it's not that bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. I'm sure it is. So, well, that's awesome. Tell us how you fared at Havasu, and you can be as vague as you want. There's no reason to go into specifics, but man, you had a heck of a good showing at Havasu Western Outdoor News this last time.
Yeah, really good tournament. I love Havasu. I've not always fished the best there in tournaments. As you know, Bruce, I tend to kill it in pre-fish there because I just have so much fun and have to set the hook on everything that bites. But yeah, going into it, that's one I look forward to every year. You know, looking back at some of the past results and, you know, last year that we all fished, kind of thought there was a chance to do well shallow, but I also knew that there's a deep pattern as well. And we really, even here in Phoenix, our weather was about a month behind going into the tournament. So fish weren't quite as far along as they were last year, it didn't seem like. And so tried to go into it with an open mind. And yeah, when I got there, ended up finding a pretty good offshore bite, and that was kind of my plan. And then I also had some good shallow fish as a backup if things got tough, that it didn't seem like as many guys were doing. So during pre-fish, fished the entire lake, caught fish everywhere. It wasn't great, but, you know, had some big ones. Seemed like a lot of the areas I was bumping into some of the big name guys who I knew were going to do well. I hate fishing in crowds, so I was kind of just going to play it, you know, and see what happened first day. And if I was fishing in a crowd, I was going to bail and try to do something different. What I found in pre-fishing really was there was still a lot of fry garters, and you know, not to let too much juice out. I know a couple people have talked about this, right? But those fry garters are out in 30 feet of water, you know, and
that's something that I learned this year. I always assumed fry garters 5 feet deep, you know, and you see them and you see the ball of fry and you see the fish. I just learned this year that they could be anywhere from out to 30 feet.
Yeah. And, you know, I saw a little bit of it last year, and for some reason this year, every lake I'm going to, and actually I saw it yesterday on Roosevelt, they're still guarding fry.
Is that right?
I think there's just so many fish that spawn main lake or deeper, or even I heard Roy Hawk talking about it the other day, that they spawn shallow and then they like take their fry and move them out deep, which is like a crazy theory, but it's probably true, you know?
Right.
Just because it's so much safer out there and they don't get messed with. But there was a lot of that stuff going on from the dam all the way up to the river. And there weren't a lot of guys doing it, and the fish were dumb. I mean, you know, I talked to some guys who were saying, you know, I was pitching specific baits and doing all this. For me, it didn't matter. Like, you threw them on them, they were dumb. You watch them shoot up out of the bait fry and just eat your bait before it even got to them.
Right.
So I was doing a lot of that. And then I found some good fish shallow. And, you know, those always make me nervous because they get beat up on, and you just never know what's going to happen there. So that was kind of my primary thing, was go shallow. I would say from like Riviera up to the river, and then scope kind of everywhere Some were around cages, some were on just little, tiny one-off trees. Like you might pull up to a spot just knowing that there's one fish there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cast at it, get out of there. So that was kind of my deal going into it. And then that first day, first spot I pull up to, Shane Edgar's there. Roy Hawk's about 100 yards down. And we're fishing for an hour. We're weaving in and out of each other because you just have no choice, right? There's in a half mile long stretch, I would say there's 50 things you're going to throw at. Like there just is. And some of them bite, some of them don't. And there's no secrets. Like we're all casting on the same fish. They're either going to bite or they're not going to bite. And so I did that for an hour or two and just said, I can't do this. Like, this is going to drive me nuts because I'm watching them catch fish, and maybe you don't catch fish for an hour and, you start to second guess yourself. So went shallow, started to catch them right away, nothing big. Ran up the river to a couple of spots that I had found where the water was just a few degrees warmer than some of the other backwaters. And it seemed like those fish were post-spawn. And it seemed like if the water was cool, you could catch fish, but they were small. Where the water was warm, fish were big. And I had two just kind of little spots where they were, a 10-acre lake. And those ended up kind of being the deal for me throughout the 3 days, really. So first day went into one, ended up making 2 or 3 passes around it, had my bag. Coming out of there, I lost 2 good ones that honestly may have cost me the tournament, to be honest with you. They were 3 to 4 pounders, and I only had, I think, 13 or maybe 14 pounds that first day, and they would have bumped me up probably 3 or 4 pounds. I had some small ones in there.
Oh, wow.
But I didn't think much of it at the time. I thought, I've just got, I've got a 14, 15 pound bag pattern.
Yeah.
And
right.
For whatever reason, the next day, cut out most of the deep stuff, just spent all day shallow. And we're talking, frogging, chatterbaiting, swim jigging, all the fun stuff, right?
Yeah.
And they got bigger. And I will say I had great coes every day. My coes caught key fish every day. 2 of the days they got big fish. Even one of the days my co had I think like a 5.5 and a 4.5. And I kind of just gave them the right baits, and I said, "Look, like these are what you need to throw."
Yeah.
And they grinded it all day. I was switching up because you go periods without fish, and we're fishing in small areas, just making laps, and you get a fish a lap, and you just had to keep your head in it. But the coes did a great job. So day 2, we ended up catching 2 big ones. Had a really great co that day, and that kind of turned me on to, hey, like there's the possibility to, win or have a shot at it in these areas, because we found a bedding fish in one of them that was probably an 8-pounder that we didn't spend much time on because I had such a good bag. I didn't necessarily want to weigh that because I thought I would need it for the next day. And then we had another one that was about 5 that was just kind of cruising, but it was locked in an area. So we left those 2 alone, and that was another bad decision because neither one of those I could get on day 3. So, but day 2 was good. Had, I think, 18 pounds left on the table there. And then day 3 ran back, and fish were still biting. And, you're fishing in spots that are no deeper than 2-3 feet deep. And for their fish to still be there is crazy. And, you go through periods where you're not getting bit. You kind of start talking to your co-anglers, hey, what should we do here? And we ended up just deciding to stay. And on the 3rd day, that was critical. We caught one of our biggest fish, I think, with maybe a couple hours to go left in the day. And I think we had about 16 pounds, which I thought was going to be pretty good. And it ended up being pretty good. I jumped up a few spots on the last day, but really, better than I thought I could get out of those fish. I thought I was going to have to go deep and play bumper boats with Shane, who ended up getting 3rd. So definitely the fish were out there. And Ian, who got 2nd.
So is Ian from Arizona also?
Yeah, I believe from Peoria as well, both Shane and Ian.
Okay.
Yeah. So we had 3 Peoria guys in the top 5, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so to be able to do it, what was great for me is I could fish how I wanted to fish. I didn't go do something that I felt like I had to do. I was having fun the whole time, heavy line, catching them shallow.
Yeah.
I had great co-anglers. Like the whole thing just, it was my time to do well. Everything went right.
Right.
No issues, nothing, nothing went wrong. Did have a couple of, missed opportunities with lost fish and then not trying to catch a couple of big ones, but yeah, no complaints. And,
was it kind of the thing where sometimes when this happens to me, it seems like, God, I can't believe nobody else has found this. Like, this is so easy. Like, and I'm just like catching them and I'm like by myself, or where is everybody?
100%,
yeah, that's cool. That's so
spots.
Cool.
These were not hidden secret spots. These are spots everyone knows about. And I just didn't see anybody in there. I think in all 3 days, I only saw another boat, maybe 2 times, maybe 3 times. And they would just come in, make a quick lap and get out of there. And part of it was I had the confidence to stay in there. Most of the area, you can see the bottom. I mean, so you go through there and you're like, there's no fish unless you spooked them out or, whatever.
I know.
So one of the,
I get it.
The second day we went into one and I just saw a couple of fish and I was telling my backseater, he didn't know about the thin Cinco. So I said, hey, put a thin Cinco on. And I didn't tell him how to rig it. So he rigs it on like a drop shot hook. And I was like, oh man, you're going to snag that thing up everywhere, pitching around these toolies,
Yeah.
Well, we're sitting down at the bottom of the boat, eating a little breakfast, whatever. We culled some fish. We had a decent day already. And I get up and I'm like, oh my God, there's a giant. And it ended up being the 5.5 or 6 or whatever it was that day. And I'm like, throw that thin Cinco on it. And it's 15, 20 feet from the boat. He pitches on it, eats right away, hooks it, comes right in the net and scoop it up, hardly fought. And, one of those things where it's like anybody could have driven through there, seen that fish. It was dumb. They could have casted on it and they would have sat there for the rest of the day.
Yeah. Right.
But no, it's like you said, everything happens for a reason. So
yeah. That's awesome story. I love it. So 5th place, what'd that get you? You get like $6,000?
Yeah, I think it was like
cut a check?
$700, something like that. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, good payday. I more than I anticipated. So
yeah. That's awesome. So lately here in the last couple of weeks, I got to tell you this story because I keep thinking about you. It's the water has come down quite a bit at El Cap, right? And there's a lot of grass. And I'm like, and I keep looking at it and I'm like, man, this is Brandon Kuehl. This is his deal. This is his jam.
Yeah.
So we went right to the skinny dippers and and just started and buzz baits. Buzz baits are okay. They're not as good as they should be, you would think, but though the whole, like the last 3 weeks, the whole skinny dipper, cull shad, whatever, mag draft, just creaming them. I took Hunter out there the other day and Hunter's just like, his mind is just like, it's so fun. I'm like, this is Brandon taught me how to do this. He told me how to do this. And
I love that. Like I haven't been able to find that bite really anywhere else. And like, I've tried to push it and just something about El Cap when you get that grass is like just
on any whatever, it's been going on for a little while now, so whatever, it's like any windy bank where it's like perpendicular wind. Actually, it doesn't even take perpendicular wind. And you see them like, or you see a tail, they're like boiling in the wind. Any point with some grass on it is just okay, here we go. Yeah. Calling the shots.
Like, there's some big fish up there. I don't remember when that was. 3, 4, 5 years ago, but there was like a month period where almost every time we were getting one like 6 to 8 pounds.
I remember you telling me that,
and it was crazy.
Yeah. That's when you showed me those Yamamoto hooks. And
Oh
you're
yeah.
like, they're thin, but they work. I caught
Yeah.
8-pounders on them. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. No, it's that's kind of one of the interesting things is like San Diego is its own little bubble. Like it's the ecosystem and how everything fishes there is like nothing I've ever seen anywhere else, you know. And
Is that right?
we
See,
have
that's
like here
interesting.
in Phoenix, we have saguaro and it's got Florida strain bass. And
Mhm.
to me, it's it's kind of like otay in a way. There's grass, there's a lot of tules, there's Florida strains, but it fishes really nothing like otay. Like it's completely different. And there's just a lot of that stuff that I did in San Diego. We all did. Like it doesn't carry over to these other places. Now there's some baits and things like, you know, I mentioned the thinny,
Yeah.
but no, it's so different there than everywhere else. So I kind of have to try and block all that stuff out of my mind over here and just fish completely different.
Yeah.
Still West Coast, so it's still weird. You know, everything's highly pressured, but a lot of
Yeah.
that stuff didn't carry over here. You know, like night fishing, rats.
Yeah.
There's times where it can be okay, but it's nothing like San Diego. You know?
Huh. Yeah. That's interesting. I just assumed it was going to be pretty much kind of the same.
That's what I thought, and then quickly learned it's not.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've been scoping a lot. I mean, granted, you know, we talked about Havasu and this and that, but otherwise, I know Nick was telling me, I think you told me too, you were like, man, it's this scoping it's the deal. It's the real deal. You just been throwing minnows, or do you have any certain baits? You have any juice you could throw us?
Yeah, no, I use it a lot, and I was a couple of years late to the game. I know I still remember this conversation. You know, clearly in my mind, Nick and I fished a team series, and I think Kevin Norling won, and he's like, "You guys have to get scope. Like, you can't compete." This is probably like 2018, maybe. Yeah. He's like, "You guys can't compete without it," you know. And I'm like, right, yeah, you know, whatever. Like we were doing okay, we were winning some money, whatever. And I just remember he's like, "No, you need to get it," you know. And so I was a little bit late to getting it, but now that I've got it, I've always been big on, like, I've had 360 for a long time. I had side scan since it first came out, and I don't remember when that was, like 2009 or something. I've always been big on it. For some reason, I was slow to adopt live scope, but now that I have it, I probably use it maybe a little bit differently than a lot of guys in that I do structure fish with it a lot. So even if I'm not looking at them, I'm using it to see, you know, what's down there and just how everything is in the ecosystem's kind of moving, right? Like you can't tell, like even yesterday, we had some weird scenarios where there's a lot of like smaller bait on top. We've got big gizzards closer to the bottom. We've got carp swimming around. We've got bass underneath the carp. Like there's all kinds of crazy things that you see, and maybe you're not technically casting at those fish, but it's telling you what's going on. Like, is that bait high in the water column? Is it low? Are those fish active? Are they busting through? Or are they just sitting flat on the bottom? Like there's just a lot of information that you're getting out of it. And so I'm always watching that thing like a hawk, even if I'm not directly looking at my bait fishing it.
Yeah.
But I do minnow fish a lot. You know, yesterday we were catching them on a 7-inch Sakamata.
Nice.
Yeah. Which on a spinning rod is a handful. I still haven't found the ideal setup. Like when you catch a 5+ pounder on a 7-inch Sakamata on a medium spinning rod.
Yeah.
It's hairy, right? But that's something, if you had told me, you know, even 3-4 years ago that I'd be throwing a 7-inch minnow on a spinning rod, looking at them on scope, I'd have been like, there's no way. Like, are we talking about Lake Fork here? You know, but but no, it's it teaches you a lot. There's a lot of different things you can do. I feel like there's still a lot that we don't know, you know, how to necessarily take advantage of it. This last winter, I won a tournament at Bartlett here, and I found fish literally on the surface, less than a foot down in 80 to 100 feet of water.
Oh,
and
wow.
This is coldest time of the year. You know, I think our water temps were probably upper 40s, low 50s.
Mhm.
And these fish were sunning themselves in the middle of the lake. Now, generally, it was around some type of contour, like a super deep point or a creek channel or the main river channel, or near a bluff. You know, like it had to be something that made sense. These weren't just complete roamers. But how would you have ever even fathomed that fish would just be doing that? And, you know, they were so shallow that it was hard to get a minnow above them because obviously you can't fish below them, right? So it's like, how do I get this minnow above them? Not reel at 100 miles an hour, but they were just dots, you know, perfect, shiny blobs a foot down, and you got a minnow near it, and it would just smoke it. And I ended up winning a tournament doing that. And it was just like it blew my own mind of like, how is this even happening? You know?
Yeah.
So there's just a lot of random stuff. You know, the deep Sakamata shads. I even fish a lot of reaction stuff on scope. I had one yesterday on a deep scrounger, so I was fishing a 3/4 ounce scrounger.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is down in 30 feet of water. So slow rolling this thing down there through fish, and we had thrown flutter spoons, we had thrown big worms, we'd thrown a bunch of stuff at these fish, couldn't get anything to go. Slow roll that scrounger with a 6-inch Sakamata shad on the back. Hopefully I'm not giving out too much here, but slow rolling that thing down through there just above them, and got one to follow it, gave it a couple of jerks, and that was the big one. It was 7 or 8 pounds yesterday. So I think even reaction fishing it still makes sense, and I wouldn't have known when to twitch that bait exactly to get that fish to react and eat. I've seen it happen on the chatterbait. When we were at Havasu a couple weeks ago for the Spro tournament, you can catch frogfish on scope too. I don't know how many people are actually aware of that, but it works there too. So there's, like I said, there's a lot of stuff that.
Do you have the perspective mode and the forward mode at the same time? Do you have 2 transducers?
I haven't. You know, I've played around with perspective mode a little bit. I feel like it's really good for bedfish. I haven't found as much success with it doing anything else. So like during the spawn, especially on like dirty water lakes, or if I think they're fishing or spawning a little bit deeper, I'll play around with that. I've kicked around going to 2 transducers and 2 units, but so far, no, mainly just forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah.
So we're 3/4 ounce scrounger head. Do you use that Sugen Picasso head, or is it a regulation scrounger? Is it from back east on ledge bait?
Yeah, I should have probably grabbed it, but I have a box literally that just says ledge baits, and been collecting dust because there's not much need for it out here. But big spoons, big flutter spoons like the Ben Parker ones. 6 makes some. Heavy scrounger, I think they're a Hog Farmer. There's a couple of different brands that are pretty good, but they're 3/4 ounce. I have half to 1 ounce, and I think they're 6 or 7/0 hooks. And way back in the day, we went to Kentucky Lake. We were catching them on that Castaic Jerky J. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Well, that's the Jason Lambert deal.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And so kind of same theory, these new baits I feel like are just a lot better. There's I think there's another one too that's pretty good. If you can't get the I hate burning up the Sakamatas because they're so expensive, but there's a couple baits that work pretty well. And even if it's not a 3/4, if you want to fish a half down to say 15 or 20 feet, they just work really well. And those fish are so used to seeing a big loud crankbait or heavy chatterbait, whatever it is, right? They're not used to seeing that minnow down there. And on that scrounger, it's just a real slight,
I know. That's it's got me all perked up and interested, because a lot of times lately in the last couple of years, I fish a lot of LVs now and a lot of underspins. I use like a half ounce, 3/8 ounce, half ounce underspin with just smaller tails, and like and bouncing them off the bottom and whatnot. And catch a lot of fish that way, a lot of big fish too. So, and I have all these scrounger heads in my boat, and it's hard to keep them straight, you know, with the bills.
Yep.
And I haven't figured out, like, I throw them in a box, but I don't like them in a box. I'm trying to use some razor foam and whatnot to keep them straight, but whatever. But I haven't like jumped into the whole scrounger head deal, even though I know they keep looking at me like that's going to be the deal. I know that's going to be the
Yeah.
deal because it's super kind of finessey, and you can get it down there, and it's not an underspin, you know, or it's not an LV, or it's not a big chatterbait, a 3/4 ounce chatterbait or something, you know, like I know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean,
it's been in the back of my head for a long time. That's why it caught when you said that, it was like, oh, there it is.
yeah, and like another couple are, you know, hair jig. Who throws a hair jig in San Diego?
Right.
That's a lot of what we do out here, hair jig. You know, and the thing is, like Pleasant, which is, you know, 30 minutes from my house, we've got big stripers. So
Right.
now I say big, they'll get 20 pounds or whatever, but
Mhm.
a lot of the big bass will sit underneath the striper, and they're just catching scraps that are falling through. So your big spoons, your hair jigs, even the scrounger, like that stuff works. The other one is a big swim bait on a jig head. Who out here does that? Hardly at all. You know, like that's a back east ledge deal.
Right.
Like 3/4 ounce jig head, big hook.
Yeah.
You can put a mag draft on there. You can get some of the Scottsboro baits, but
yeah.
that's another one. You know, fish just don't see it, but it's common back east. But here, it's not.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. That was good. That was cool. That was. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. No, definitely. Get some. And the other thing is, watch for, like, you got to buy a bunch of them, because even out of the pack, some of them just don't swim right. So
you mean the scroungers or the swim baits? Yeah, that's another thing that I heard about. I haven't seen it yet, but like the Picasso ones you can move actually and change the bills out, but I think a lot of them they don't. I can see that.
I think the hog farmer ones don't even come on the hook. I don't remember if the Sujin ones do, but you have to actually put the bill on yourself, and so, you know, all kinds of things can happen. So you got to just go through a bunch of them. But
the Picasso ones, they come with different thicknesses of bills.
That's right. Yeah.
So you have different options of whatever, different actions. Yeah,
they work. I mean, I got a giant yesterday and had to leave them biting because we were trying not to burn too many of them.
Right. When's your next tournament?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah. This weekend. Right on. At Roosevelt.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, cool. What's your plans for this? What's your coming up like next year? What are you doing? Are you going to fish Mead and Mojave?
I'm going to try to. Yeah. Got a few guys here locally that it sounds like want to go, so I may kind of tag along with them. I've never actually fished Mead, so I'll be curious to see what that's like. Only been to Mojave a couple of times, but that was kind of my goal, you know, going into all this was dip my toe in the water with WON bass, and now got a little bit more flexibility with work and whatnot. So I think next year I may try to hit all of them. Kind of see how the schedule plays out, but for the rest of this year, I'd like to hit Mead and Mojave, and then we've got our tournaments here. The normal series really start back up in like September, October. So try to plan out. You know, it's tough coordinating. We've got Arizona Bass Nation here, which I'm going to try and do next year as well. The Bass Federation, which is separate.
I saw that John Fuqua took that over.
Yeah, exactly.
I know John.
Yeah.
We were in the same business together.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, I talked to him the other day, and he was on a boat. So
yeah, I'm sure he was.
Yep.
The fisher where he came from up in Ventura, it is just biting nails. White sea bass is just, and halibut are going crazy. So he's probably working relief for somebody up there or something.
Yeah. I'm sure he said he was just trying to get out of the heat, I think, too, more than anything. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, well, we'll see how everything overlaps. Probably going to try and come back to San Diego. I think it sounds like you guys are going to have the 2-day.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
In August this year.
Yeah. Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah.
Guaranteed $10,000. I hadn't even talked about that on the podcast yet. But yeah, the Paul Leader Jim Slight Memorial 2-day. It's going to be in August.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get the band back together with Nick. Yeah, it's funny. Every time we fish together, it's kind of like we never left. And Nick just gets in the back and ropes them per usual. I'm the net.
He did the other day. He was smoking them, and that was a gun again. That was on the TOC. He had 20 pounds, and I was telling Jim, I'm like, he's in the back of the boat. I'm all, Jim, man, this is Nick's jam. He's gonna do good. Like chatterbaits in the grass. Oh man, look out! Like
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
so yeah, he did good.
It's crazy. I feel like he's the best backseater I've probably ever fished with.
Yeah.
You put him around fishing, he just catches them. I mean, he will come into it with no idea of what you're going to fish, where, anything. He'll just load his rods in and he'll catch them somehow off the back of the boat. It blows my mind.
I love that story, how you guys were fishing San Vicente and fishing like some rock point, and he just starts bombing a 7-inch Cinco out into deep water. What are you doing?
Yes, there's 20 stories like that where I'm like, what are you doing? And then next thing you know, I'm there with the net, and it's like,
yeah,
here we go.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, that 2-day should be fun. I'm glad that we're keeping that going, because that was always my favorite thing. And we have honestly a couple like that here in Phoenix, but I feel like the leader now, Jim Slight Memorial, is kind of cool because there's a couple guys behind it that are legends over there. So
yeah,
that should be fun.
Yeah. $10,000 first place guaranteed. So that'll be a drawing. It'll get a lot of boats there, a lot of teams.
Is it going to be the same format, split lakes?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, it'll probably be San Vicente and Lower Otay, just because of the water level at El Cap. But if the water level is still launchable at Cap, then they'll switch to one of the days to Cap. So, but yeah, half here, half there, and then swap.
I do miss El Cap. I need to come back and have you put me on them for a day.
I'd love to have you. I'd love to fish with you again.
Yeah.
Yeah, anytime.
That's the one I miss. That's still one of my favorite lakes.
Yeah,
So,
Hodges is done. Hodges, you can't put a boat on it. It's super low. I guess there's it's the narrows is about 4 feet deep, so you can still get in the narrows and kind of fish around, but most of it's you got to go down towards the dam and fish all those rock piles and whatever, which a lot of them are out of the water. There's really not much in the water. Collander caught a 12-pounder there not too long ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sure, they're still in there, but the spawn's probably horrible since the water's low.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Of course, the first year was great when the water dropped, and then the population, readjusted to the lake size, and now there's really just not very much to fish. So, and it's crowded. Like the kayak guys and float tube guys they're just on it.
Are they having tournaments out there on kayak?
The kayak guy, yeah. They got that tube mob, they're still doing it. And then, which that's not very big, but the kayak guys are still going there. Yeah.
I mean, that would be fun on a kayak. As much as I dislike fishing from a kayak, it'd be fun to go to Hodges on a kayak.
Yeah. Still got giants. I mean, it's the genetics haven't changed. As soon as and whenever they get that dam the new dam, it'll be the same once the water level comes back up. But we don't know when that's going to happen. So,
well, you guys are always welcome over here to the land.
Well, I appreciate
freedom. We'll have you anytime. Got plenty of bedrooms here and a driveway to put the boat, and welcome anytime.
Yeah. I want to go fish that Roosevelt. Trying to get the club over there or something. That and saguaro and whatever. Heard so much about saguaro and the big fish in there. It feels like it's like what I hear is like Hodges, it's like a big fish lake kind of deal.
I think there's more big fish in there than probably any lake I can think of. I mean,
Yeah,
I can't tell you how many guys here caught 40 to 50-pound bags
no kidding.
regularly this spring. I mean, we're talking, there may have been 30 bags over 40 pounds, and they're just not
Jesus.
tournaments because it's so small.
Yeah.
And they get up to 13, 14 pounds, but the number of fish between 8 and 13 pounds is mind blowing.
Yeah.
They do stock some trout in there, which I think.
Okay.
And it's a weird lake because they can pump water into it and out of it through the same dam. So Canyon comes into Saguaro, and they can actually pump water back and forth between the lakes, which is kind of weird. So you might get current going one way, you might get it going the other way, all within the same day.
No kidding. So Canyon is above it, like upstream of Saguaro?
That's what's crazy is we have Roosevelt at the top of the chain, which feeds into Apache, and Apache is another really good lake. We had a 30-pound bag there, multiple 30-pound bags there this spring. And then Apache feeds into Canyon, Canyon feeds into Saguaro. So you have the whole chain where the fishing's good in all of it. But Saguaro is, and it is one of those lakes where you can go there and, you can
not catch anything.
You can anything. But majority of what you catch there is quality. Like there's a lot of quality fish.
Yeah.
We had one last September, just hot, hot, 110 degrees, wake boats everywhere. It's a real skinny, narrow lake. It kind of reminds you of El Cap and how it's built, real narrow. Now it's probably 5 or 10 times as long as Cap, but it's like that. And you've got wakeboard boats just constantly because it's basically in Scottsdale. And it took 25 pounds. We have multiple 7 pluses. I mean, even when it's hot, it's still good.
Yeah. Right. So, and then you have Pleasant, and Pleasant's its own deal, right? It's not on a river chain or nothing. It's like its own lake.
It's part of a different system. I think it's called CPS, but the city unlike San Diego, they did a really good job managing the water between all these lakes. So they have the Salt River project, and then they have Pleasant, which is kind of its own deal. But they have all these canals. They keep the water levels high, most of the year. We don't have any funny business with water going into the ocean and all that kind of stuff. But they did a really good job managing all of it. All the facilities are great. They're open all the time. Like for being a city with 5 million people in the middle of a desert, it's surprisingly really good. Yeah.
Is that a drinking water reservoir? Is it that's what they use it for?
No, I don't think so. No.
Huh. They get their water from the Colorado River, like Phoenix?
A lot of ours comes from groundwater. Surprisingly.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Huh.
I think a lot of the water that comes out of the Colorado River is mainly agriculture.
Yeah.
And a lot of our drinking water that we use is groundwater.
All right. Well, that's learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Right on. All right, man. Well, I'll let you go. I know you're busy and whatever, and I appreciate you coming on here. Thank you. And God, I hope to see you in the future. Maybe I'll probably see you at Mead.
Yeah. Well, I'll probably see you for the 2-day, but if you're going to Mead, let me know. Hit me up.
I will. Yeah. I'll jump in the boat with you. I think I might be going as a AAA. So
if you want to get out there and pre-fish, let me know.
Okay. I'll do that.
All right.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. We'll talk to you later.
Talk to you later. See you.
Okay. See ya.